Hi everyone, this is Pierrick from P2DESIGN for a new tip video. I released a new course a few months ago and a lot of people asked me how I've made this animation for the announcement trailer. It's a kind of animation I've already made for customers, for websites and stuff like this, where we can see a house building itself. So it's pretty easy to be done. It's mostly made by hand. And I will just show you the tip, the method to create it, and then we'll go in a small overview of the intro of the trailer, or where I've made it, or where I placed the camera and stuff like this. Let's get started. So for the demo, we'll start with our basic thing. I'll get rid of the camera and the point light here. I will add an array modifier to our cube, and I will slightly offset it like this. Let's say 5. I will copy it and modify the offset on the y-axis so that we get this. Now I can apply it to get this array of cube. I will go apply the second one, go into edit mode, and with the face selection mode I will press L hovering over those to select them, press X vertices. So now let's say this is our base walls. I will go into edit mode again, select everything, press P to separate everything by loose parts. And now I will press Ctrl Alt Shift C and set the origin to geometry. So now all the cube here have their origin into their center. This is not mandatory, but that's gonna be easier to visualize what we are going to do. And now I will just duplicate those and repeat the duplication by pressing Shift R, let's say twice. So now you can think of this as the different stones or different elements of the house. Those can be the windows, those can be the tiles on the roof, etc. The trick and the tip for this kind of animation is that you have to separate all the objects and give them all a keyframe. So it's pretty long to be done, but there are some ways to shorten a little bit the action. So I will just give those a material and click use node, setting, give it a red color and make some duplication for those. A blue one, Ctrl L, material, so that it will be easier for us to visualize everything. So we have now all of our cube creating our imaginary house or whatever construction or building we want. I will open the timeline, put the auto recording, set the end at 110 because I want to play only on 100 frame, whatever you want, with a frame rate of 25 frames per second. Okay, so the first tip is to start from the end. You have made your building, it is finished, so you can set a keyframe of the final result. So with the automated recording here and without any specific keyframing here, I will press G and enter so that it will set a keyframe for each of those blocks. Now when I go into the dope sheet, I can see all my object keyframed here. So what I like to do is to use the view selection only, so that whenever you select 1, 2, 3 or 4 cubes, you see only those keyframes. So switching with the different kind of selection here is pretty important. So I will just let the timeline open, and now let's give it an initial position. So I want all the brick to be in the sky, like this. And now if I play the animation, I saw them falling like this. But I do want those to arrive first, then the other to arrive first, etc. So what you have to do is simply offset the animation. So those are supposed to arrive first. So the end of their animation will be like at 25. Tuck, they fall first. Then let's offset the beginning of the others to 25. And now I can see those like this. So you can make some overlapping like that. And now I will just offset those two. So now if I select everything, we can see that I have a first batch of cubes here that have their animation here, then the second batch in this area, and finally this area. I can offset those two. One of the things you have to fix is the way they are falling, because they are using by default a Bezier interpolation, which is not really cool, because there is an acceleration and then they are like damped before they arrive on the ground. If we just check the curve of one of those, there is this acceleration and then it's braking before it hit the ground, or it loses its speed, and we don't want that. So what you can do is press T and select one of those easing by strength, maybe the cubic here, so it will accelerate and touch the ground. So I guess the second one will be good, so I can select everything here, press A, select all my objects, select all the keyframe, T, and use this. And now I will have better animation. Now for the final step, we go back into the dope sheet and we will move the keyframe position, offset them pretty randomly on the timeline, so that we have this rainy effect of the stone. So the thing to avoid is to have the different batch going before or after the first and the second, etc. That's why you should make it by steps like this, taking a block, creating all the keyframes, then the second one, and then make a slight offset in between. So what I do is that now we can uncheck this. It's just offsetting some of the keyframe like this. So that's pretty boring, let's be honest. But once it's done, you got desired effect. Then you just need to place your camera and do the job. I mean, make the rotation and stuff like this. So I will just rapidly finish this, show you the result, and then we go on a slight overview of the tower animation, where there are a few additional tips. So offsetting everything, I have kind of finished the effect of the animation here. I can remove the auto keyframing, add a camera, so it's a bit too fast here, but you have the idea. I mean, once you have a ton of different elements, you will get the thing. So if you add the rotation of the camera at the same time, you can get very nice effects. So let's see this on the teaser file. So here is the scene I've used to create the trailer animation. Here in the camera view, we can see it moving as on the little film. And here we have kind of the original position and the final position, which is the same as the final result in the tutorial. I guess just the resolution and the camera size is kind of different to fit animation. So as you can see, we can find here kind of the stepped animation with the different part of the element, and very little randomness, because there was so many pieces that I couldn't move them one by one, so I've mostly made batch movements. Once this was done, there was a few tricks actually. You can see this part of the building here popping out from nowhere, because I can't make the walls falling, and this is simply using a keyframe shape key here. So we have a first keyframe to make this one appearing based on those elements, and then the other part. So this was one of the little tip I have been using, is to separate the inside wall of the building in different parts and shrink them using shape keys. When we look from afar the beginning of the animation, we can see that the objects here are kind of decomposed, and we have the ground here, etc. So I really moved them kind of arbitrary, just thinking about the tempo of the animation. And then it's all about the camera position here. So we can see its movement. It is rotating around the building using a simple empty here. It's parented to this empty, and there are a few secondary movements of rotation on its local x-axis to look up and down the animation here. So if we think of it, it's very simple. You first have to set the base tempo. So first this part fall, then the brick part here fall, then it's the wooden frame, and finally the different tiles. Then the little blending tip was to use here shape keys to get this effect from the inside walls, like that. And then for the element coming from the side, they are far enough in the camera so that I can use the Z pass to slightly blur them in the composition, so that they don't seem to be flying in the sky like this. We don't know from where they came from. And currently the animation is fast enough so that you can't focus on those little elements. And the last thing is the camera movement. It makes half of the business here. If you have a nice camera movement, make the whole thing. Then it was just rendered, and the final thing was to be able to kind of adjust the position of the backdrop based on this new camera position. Once rendered, I've exported some of the different passes using PNG format with transparency. So I'm using the ambient occlusion and the gloss color, that's it, and the combined pass. And I've created this kind of particle effect to have some verticality movement using a simple particle system in After Effects. There is a vignette effect with a darker mask and a blurry mask. So at the end, I've just got this slight transparency of my background, making the particles disappearing. And once it's aligned, To make the blending correct and to strike with the music, we have this orangey flash here. It's all about this. Give tempo, find the good trick, and then with compositing and the music you can have a nice result. So that's it for this tip video. You can see that it's a very simple process. It's just a matter of organization, but there is no magical tip. It's just a matter of spending time on your animation. If you haven't got your course already, you can click the link in the video. And I hope you'll enjoy this more than 12 hours course. Anyway, thanks for your support and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.